What I found interesting was during my PhD time at the Donders, we had what was this? This was some type of quality assessment, research quality assessment or institute assessment itself that took place. And during that week, researchers or senior people within the academic system from Oxford, Cambridge, UCL, or also from United States, I think somebody from Johns Hopkins was there as well. They came to visit the Donders. They had lots of conversations with people to see how the process goes. They looked at the academic output and so on to basically give an assessment of the quality of research, a score, if you will, for the Donders. And I met this one person who, we had a lunch so that these people can also talk to PhD students. And I met this one person who was at Oxford at that moment. So when you are in the academic world, what do you hear? Oxford is like the holy grail. They did their branding properly, I have to say.
Yeah, they do.
They did that well. MIT the same, and Cambridge as well. So when I asked him what he thought about the Donders, he said the infrastructure is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I was confused because he was coming from Oxford. So I just assumed, well, if you think it's amazing here, it must be outstanding at Oxford. So how is it there? And he literally told me it's non-existent. So I just had to pause because I didn't understand. If it's non-existent, why would you want to go there in the first place? Well, and he told me, because it's Oxford. So it becomes a type of a self-fulfilling prophecy, which I found a little sad because colleagues of mine, they started PhDs being blinded by this as well, by this brand image. And I have a bit of a revolting nature anyways, but my perception of these high-level universities changed drastically because I was shocked at how much is pretended or let's say shown to the outside world and how much actually takes place inside. And that discrepancy I just found so big that I was put off strongly.
Well, just to qualify what I would meant by not messing with Oxford and Cambridge, I'm thinking more about their traditional academic culture.
Oh, that's what you mean.
So for instance,
the culture I like.
So for instance, like, yes, universities need to. These are universities that pride themselves on academic excellence and excellent research. So of course, if we're talking about magnetic resonance imaging, they should have excellent magnetic resonance imaging infrastructure,
Agreed,
right? If they don't, then they're really ruining who they are. So that would be crazy.
Yeah.
What I mean more is a culture.
Yeah.
So for instance, if you go to these traditional universities that are built around maybe the academic model, right, of postdocs and lecturers and all this kind of thing, have made successes in the past, and it would be really difficult to change a culture there. I think it would be difficult to say starting next year, this university that everyone recognizes as operating in a certain way, what it means to be a reader at Oxford, what it means to be professor of psychology at Oxford, that kind of thing. It would be difficult to mess with that. I mean, they have, but that is their culture. That's their way of doing things.
And they might not need to change at all.
They might not need to change, but of course they need to have proper infrastructure because they still need to deliver good quality science.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But what I was thinking more is not every university in the world, if you think of all the universities in the world, need to say, well, we need to have a professor of this and we need to have a reader doing this. And in order to be here, it means that you do teaching and you also do research and you do it like this, right? That I don't see as necessary.
No, yeah,
I think especially when a new type of research evolves or a new type of societal goal comes, when a problem that hasn't been solved yet really requires a team of people, then you should be focusing more on, okay, how do we what is our goal and what is our mission? Why do we exist? You know, if we are a new university in a new place, why do we have to replicate a model that's been around for hundreds of years, right? If it doesn't necessarily make sense.
Right. Yeah. And okay, to be fully fair, the limitations that you sometimes get at these, let's say, older established institutes, you need to keep in mind that the campuses are very old. And there is limited space,
exactly.
And everybody is trying to flock to those places. Yeah. So you start running into problems soon anyhow.
Well, people should also do their research.
They should also do their research, yeah.
So there are certain types of PhD students who belong at Oxford, the way they think and the way they behave and the type of questions that they're asking.
Agreed.
And there's certain type of PhD students who should not go to Oxford, right? They're asking different questions. They're doing different types of research.
Their approach is different.
Their approach is different, right? That also is important. So don't just be blinded by a brand.
No, exactly.
Also think about really, are you going to fit with where you're going and what you're trying to do there.
And when I talk to some people that work at Oxford or Cambridge, because of these limitations of infrastructure that wasn't there, they had to come up with very ingenious ways of how to still do their research properly, which I have to say, very, very impressed with, which went so beyond of what they actually had to research, which opened up a whole new avenue of an approach. Wow. I was, for example, there was a friend of mine that was at UCL, and it was a small lab. They didn't have lots of funding. I also assumed UCL, great infrastructure. I said, no. And when I asked her, how do you do your analysis? She said, I run it on my laptop. And there was fMRI analysis, you know? And I was like, wait, how is that possible? Because at the Donders, we have a cluster, you know, it's just so more people can actually do it properly. And she said, we had to rewrite the code for some libraries to work much more efficiently so the whole thing could run without a problem on my computer. That requires programming knowledge that goes very, very deep. So that which doesn't only benefit them if you think about it. It benefits everyone.
Benefits the scientific community around the world.
Exactly. Now, I don't want to say I don't want to give out the conclusion of just deprive people of stuff and they will solve things. It also doesn't work that way. You need a balance of both. But no, I agree with you. Is that you should, as a PhD student or postdoc, whenever you look for a position, it also needs to fit you.
Yes.
You shouldn't be just driven by, this sounds like a cool project. Because that's not the only thing important here.
No.